We're back at Moscone Center, Moscone West on the ground floor. Stop by and see us. This is day 3 of theCUBE's live coverage, RSAC 2026. I'm Dave Vellante with Christophe, Bertrand, my co-host. John Olsik is out doing his reporter's notebook, getting all the scoop, and Nimmy Reichenberg is here. He's Senior Vice President of Product Marketing at Cato Networks, a CUBE company, been on a number of times. You guys won the CUBE Awards last March, I think. So congratulations on that, and thanks so much for coming on theCUBE.
My pleasure, thanks for having me.
So you guys have been growing quite nicely. I want to say last time Shlomo was on, your CEO, was February of 2025. We had an NYSE CUBE event, and I think you were at 250 million ARR at the time. What's happened in the last year? Give us the business update.
Yeah, we actually published some results for 2025. We surpassed 350 million in ARR, grew 43%. And when you consider the fact that the SASE category is growing at 26% year over year, we're really outpacing the category growth, so we couldn't be happier with our results.
And give us the premise. You've kind of rethought the network and network security and built that into a unified system. Give us the sort of overview of that, if you would.
Sure, so Cato really invented and pioneered the SASE category. The company was founded on the belief that when you converge network and security and move from a situation where you have fragmented products, fragmented appliances, each doing its own thing, and you're able to converge it into one unified solution with a single policy engine and a single platform and a single architecture, you get quite a few things. The first thing, you get operational simplicity, you get rid of all that complexity. And the second thing, you even get economical benefits. The thing is easier to deploy, easier to maintain, and it's easier to adapt. And if you've been around RSA, you may have noticed AI and AI security. Companies have to adapt all the time, and I think every time something new happens, the Cato platform, it's so easy to make changes, and we say it's so easy to be ready for what's next.
All right, so let's get into some of the hard news that you guys have made this week. There's 2 major announcements and innovations. First is this called the Cato Neural Edge, which is a GPU-powered SASE platform, and I think you've got a relationship with NVIDIA, good choice, and then Cato AI Security. So it's a SASE platform that's specifically built for AI, and I think you guys are saying it's the first. Take us through those.
Sure, so when you combine those 2 announcements, really what you get is the first AI-native SASE platform. And if we unpack that, maybe let's start with AI security. And interestingly enough, when you say AI security, you're really referring to 2 things. One is securing the usage of AI itself, and the second is using AI as a security professional, as a defender, to better defend against cyber threats. So if you look at the first part, which is securing AI interactions, securing AI interactions is now native on the SASE platform. What that means is that we're able to offer security for AI that you use, that your employees use, things like ChatGPT or Cursor or whatever tool they use to enhance their productivity. For the AI-powered applications that companies are building themselves, think of something like an AI-powered customer support chatbot, and for agents. So we're able to secure and govern all those interactions on the same unified SASE platform, same architecture, same policy, same engine, same console. When companies want to advance to secure AI interaction, it's all natural and it all works the same way that they used to. What we're doing with the Neural Edge is we've added NVIDIA GPUs in all our points of presence. We have points of presence, POPs, in 85 locations around the world. And what that enables us to do is process AI and AI interactions and AI inspection close to where those AI interactions are happening. So we need to inspect AI interactions, but we also need GPUs to be able to leverage AI inside the Cato platform to do things like better threat detection and better threat correlation using AI. So really what that gives our customers is, first and foremost, performance, because the AI compute happens close to where the users are and where the AI interactions take place. And it also gives us improved security because we're able to share context, not just AI, but with everything, all the other telemetry and all the other context that we as a network and security vendor are able to collect.
Great, awesome setup, Christophe.
Yeah, so Nimmy, a couple of questions on this. Very interested by the GPU conversation. First of all, does that have a consequence on pricing for your services, for your offerings? Because obviously GPUs are not cheap, as we know. That's number one. And number two, or is it actually an operational efficiency advantage, not only for performance you mentioned for your clients, but also for yourselves, where you can actually now provide maybe more with essentially a more powerful sort of architecture. So I'm very curious about that, because GPUs, oh, expensive.
Yes, so I think part of our mission is to simplify network and security for our customers and really just move everything up to the cloud so they don't have to worry about this. So the answer to your first question is absolutely not. This does not impact pricing to our customers. As far as we're concerned, you have to, if you want to do AI security, you have to use GPUs one way or the other. So what other companies may be forced to do is use GPUs on cloud providers, infrastructure. You have to use it one way or another. So we've always believed that by owning our own cloud, we can provide a very resilient service to our customers, and we're just bringing GPUs to our own cloud as opposed to using somebody else's GPUs.
Right. So is that really the fundamentally the differentiation? You're really essentially optimizing your own cloud with GPUs, giving you that extra advantage over your competition. And is that something you see as an investment that's going to be accelerated in the future, or do you see an optimization sort of happening over time? You can't keep buying GPUs forever, right?
Yeah, so I'll say a few things. First of all, the advantage is, Cato's always had what we call space, or a single pass cloud engines, which means that all the inspection happens in one place, in one pass. So unlike appliance-based or other solutions that have to inspect internet traffic in one place, and then as you inspect things for different security threats, you're actually moving to separate environments, and oftentimes even separate hardware, separate boxes. So the advantage to us is this whole seamless single pass inspection now extends to AI with the GPUs. So again, everything's faster, more streamlined, and easier to manage. In terms of investment, I mean, we're always investing. You would argue that bandwidth consumption increases and compute increases. We'll make whatever investments are needed to make sure that customers can have a secure, modern network and network security that addresses the latest environment and the latest threats.
Is it fair to think of you as an AI security cloud?
Absolutely, and again, when we say AI security, it's both sides of the coin, right? It's securing the AI interactions themselves, but it's also using AI to provide better security.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's novel that you're actually essentially building your own infrastructure. Right?
Absolutely, that's been the Cato philosophy and differentiator from day one. And one of the things that we've always said, hey, it's so much easier to add stuff when you are in control of your own destiny. And I think the AI transformation is great proof of that. So, we talked about our announcements. In less than 6 months of acquiring AIM Security, it is now fully integrated into the Cato platform, right? That could only be done because we have a single architecture across all our capabilities.
So that's the benefit that you get as a competitive differentiator. What's the benefit to your customers of offering that sort of native AI security capability in SASE?
Right, so think about one single policy, right? So if you need to apply a policy to all AI interactions, we need to define a policy that applies to AI in other areas of network security. One place, single console, right? You don't have to manage 3 or 4 different consoles in some other solutions. One to secure agentic AI, one for shadow AI discovery, and of course one for your legacy network security. So it's operational simplicity and better security because Cato has a single data lake where all the telemetry feeds in. Now the AI telemetry feeds into that same data lake. So again, you don't have a fragmented visibility problem, or how do I piece together everything to get the complete picture? So it's operational simplicity and improved security.
So I mean, from a first principle standpoint, you guys decided early on that you were going to essentially own your own infrastructure. You were going to bite the bullet on the CapEx requirements and then deliver better economics, presumably, to your customers, but you had to pay the price up front, but that was a really important decision that you made. And then now as you grow and you're scaling, you get the payoff.
Yes, and I haven't been in Cato since the early days, but Shlomo's vision back in the early days, a lot of people thought it was crazy. And here we are 10 years later, and Shlomo did it again, and his vision proved to be the right one.
Quick question, I think you have about 4,000, 5,000 customers,
yes,
right, at this point, so that's significant. I imagine mostly enterprise maybe some mid-market. It's starting to change. We're hearing a lot of segment changes with AI. Curious about some of your relationships with different programs and certifications, like FedRAMP, for example. I know it's something you guys have been working on. How's that changing your business? Because that's pretty significant.
Yeah, so obviously we keep expanding. If it's things like FedRAMP and Federal, we did announce that we have started the FedRAMP certification process not that long ago. Moving up market to more enterprise customers, winning not just with AI security, but AI security is certainly very helpful to win new customers because it's probably top of mind for every organization today. So we're continuing to expand. I mean, the relationship with our customers, we have very close to zero churn. I think once customers experience what a true platform is like, you're never going back, right? So I think we always strive to be that partner, close partner to customers, and the data proves that customers really love Cato, and very rarely will they leave.
People talk about the token economy, tokenomics. How are you taking advantage of intelligence? How are you applying that intelligence, and obviously in the form of tokens? What does that mean for how you price, and how your customers consume?
Right, so we haven't made any announcements when it comes to token-based pricing. It's not something that I can talk to, but if you, on the subject of pricing, we have made changes to pricing that allows customers to be more modular in how they consume the platforms, because as beautiful and unified as a platform is, we realize not every company can make this transformation in one swoop. So there are constant questions that we get for customers. What if I have bursts in traffic? Or what if I need to add users over time? So those are things that we have addressed in our pricing. We haven't made any public changes or announcements when it comes to token-based pricing.
Sure, but you are using tokens, right? I mean, as part of your system, and you're hiding that essentially smartly.
Correct.
From the customers, because you don't want it to be like mobile phone gigabytes. It just doesn't make any sense. So your customer sees value. It's really, I guess, value-based pricing because it's a consumption model. Is that?
Yeah. So I mean, when today the units of measurement are either users or bandwidth, right? So bandwidth is obviously consumption-based to an extent, and kind of users grow with the company. And I think with, again, who knows what the future will hold, but I think one of the things that that enterprise customers really value is predictability. Like one of the things that I think are sometimes problematic with token-based pricing, is budgeting for it? How many tokens I'm going to use if I need to set budget for the year? So I think the industry will come to terms with that and find solutions for that, but for now, I think the fact that our pricing is predictable is a big advantage.
But yeah, I think so too, but the reason I'm pushing on this is because Shlomo's vision, if you're some other company, you have to pay the cloud cogs, and obviously, you got to pay tokens. Everybody's going to pay tokens. You want to consume tokens because that's how you consume intelligence, but you have an advantage because you don't have to absorb as much cloud cogs. So you have a cost advantage that presumably can benefit your customers.
Exactly, like you said, the fact that that we own our own cloud, there's economical benefits and higher margins there. So again, we haven't publicized any information, I think, recently on gross margins, but our margins are as healthy as ever. We don't really see an impact from tokenization at this point. That may change in the future, but that's where we are now.
So actually, my follow-up question on that is technology related, but maybe pricing related in time is, what about agentic AI? Is that going to change something? Is it going to change nothing? What do you expect?
Yeah, so with agentic AI, that is probably the #1 issue we hear from customers. And again, in many ways, SASE was, maybe without knowing it, kind of built to address agentic AI, because really what SASE does is secure access and connectivity of, originally maybe it was conceived to do that for human employees, but now you've got agents. Agents are going to, of course, outnumber human employees in the very near future, and a lot of the zero trust and SASE principles apply to agents, right? I need to know what are they accessing, how are they accessing, make sure that they're accessing things securely, and with our AI security capabilities, we've added things that are only specific to agents. For example, what tools are they using, right? How do I protect them from threats that are specific to agentic AI, such as prompt injections, right? So we're adding, we're filling in the additional requirements to secure agentic AI, and a lot of the traditional SASE capabilities carry over very well into the agentic environment.
You mentioned the platform word, and I remember when John was interviewing Shlomo a year ago, he used the example of Cisco, cobbling together a bunch of companies. We had said Jeetu Patel on, and of course he had to sort of rethink that whole thing. But so at any rate, platform allows you certain advantages. How do you think about platform? What benefits does that give you in terms of being able to add new functions? Even if it's through M&A, you can bring them into the platform, and what does that mean for your customers?
Right, so I wish I could say things changed from the last conversation with Shlomo, where a lot of times when, in the industry people say platforms, what they really mean is portfolio of products that are loosely connected.
With a veneer that's
integrated, yes. So I wish I could say there is less duct tape in the industry, so to speak. But as far as Cato, like I said, we were designed from day one as a true platform. And as I said, there's economic benefits to our customers. Ultimately, it translates to economical benefits. We deploy in days and as opposed to months with hefty professional services fees. We've heard customers that they needed 20 people to operationalize network and security, and that's down to 2, for example, because we take all that complexity away and we handle it on behalf of our customers. And when it comes to needing to change, you're a customer, you acquire another company, you now have to converge network and security, again, that complexity has been greatly reduced. So all of that translates to the bottom line from an economic standpoint. And as I mentioned, from a security standpoint, it is so much easier when you have one policy in one place, where you have visibility of everything in one place, so there's both economical benefits and security benefits to the platform. That's ultimately what brings customers to Cato and what causes them, like I said, to stay. Once you see what a true platform is, it's very hard to give that up.
Well, the industry duct tape is actually a gift to you guys, so in many ways you're probably happy that you're unhappy to not be able to see that. So, all right, so let's say, here you are today, RSAC 2026. Where do you want to be a year from now? How do you define success? What are your key milestones that observers like us should be watching?
Yeah, so obviously we continue to have aggressive growth targets as a company. We definitely plan on continuing to outpace the category growth. AI security, we're just getting started, right? This is, Cato made its first acquisition about 6 months ago. There's so much to do around AI security. It's a big growth engine. You add that to the fact that we're continuing to go after new segments. I think this year you will see us investing heavily in AI security and investing heavily in growth in our existing customer base and in new segments.
When you do M&A, obviously because you're a platform company, you have to think, you're not going to just bolt it on. It has to fit into the platform, has to fit into your marketing architecture. As the head of product marketing, how do you think about that?
Yeah, I think ultimately the proof is in the pudding, right? I mean, everybody can say we're going to integrate, it's going to be unified, it's going to be seamless. Here we are less than 6 months after the acquisition of AIM Security, and if you look at the Cato Management Console and you look at the AI security tab, you would never guess that this was an acquisition. So I think it's ultimately, you can't just talk the talk, you got to walk the walk, and we certainly did that with our first acquisition. So
how's the show going for you guys? I know you're having a lot of deep customer meetings. What's the conversation like?
Would you believe what the #1 topic is? AI security and specifically agentic AI. But interestingly enough, a lot of times, we talk to customers and AI security is top of mind, but once they get to know Cato and they understand the power of the platform, they're often in a position to say, okay, wow, I really like this. What else can you do? So AI security is often a land motion with a potential to expand from there. When I've talked to quite a few customers over the last few days. AI security is top of mind for everybody, but network and security, complexity, fragmentation, it's still there, and that is still a problem that a lot of customers need to solve.
Are you finding that customers are having to sort of rob Peter to pay the AI Paul, or security, do you feel like still somewhat insulated from that shift?
No, so I have found that budget for AI security, in my experience, is not a big challenge for a couple of reasons. #1, companies are investing in AI security, and are investing in AI.
Yeah.
And since security and governance is the #1 hurdle to AI adoption, companies say, okay, if I'm going to invest X amount of dollars in AI, I'm going to carve out, I don't know, 10%, 15%, whatever that number is for the company to make sure it's secure and governed. So in that sense, the security team gets added budget to secure AI as part of the AI budget. Number two, we know AI transformation is top of mind for every organization. So when the board of directors tells the CEO, I need you to show me how you're using AI to stay competitive, and when that CEO turns to the CISO and says, okay, show me how you secure this, and they all have to report back in the next board meeting, they find the budget, right? Magical things happen.
Well, that's interesting because as you point out, a lot of times it's just sort of it's a rubber stamp item. We got to have security, so we got to uplift it. It's kind of like payroll taxes, fully loaded costs, right? Very cool. So,
and by the way, on that note, a lot of customers are asking, are coming to us for expertise, saying, hey, our AI budget is X, how much should we carve out for security, right? So the companies are still figuring it out, but they will get the budget to secure and govern AI.
You guys are growing fast, you're strategic in the sense, especially in this hybrid, multi-cloud world, you can kind of be the connection point for all these different clouds and all these different sort of estates. They can come through you to sort of be safe. I mean, that's kind of what your play is.
It's part of what we are. I think it's part of what every partner wants to be, a trusted advisor to their customers, and absolutely. And I think we acquired a lot of AI expertise through the AIM acquisition, coupled with the expertise at Cato. So absolutely, we're there to help our customers secure their AI transformation. And it's a journey. A lot of people ask me, well, what's your 3-year vision? What's coming in AI 2 years from now? And my answer is always the same. A year ago, nobody asked us to secure MCP servers because they didn't exist. Nobody asked us to secure agentic browsers because they didn't exist. Everything is moving so fast. The only thing we can really do is that we've got the expertise, we're committed to making the investments, and I'm not betting against the fact that the hottest thing in AI security 12 or 18 months from now is something that none of us have heard of.
Yeah, we hear about OpenClaw, which just came on the scene. It's the hottest open source project ever. Nimmy, thanks so much for coming to theCUBE. It's great to have you.
My pleasure, thanks for having me.
Sharing the Cato story.
Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. All right, keep it right there. This is Dave Vellante for Christophe, Bertrand, RSAC 2026. You're watching theCUBE.